everyone, welcome back to Heather the Sunflower Witch. I'm Heather. So, like I was kind of hinting at before, I'm doing another top 10 videos, and this one is focusing on top 10 favorite Oracle and Tarot decks. So I have a lot of different variety of decks, and so I figured, let's show them off. Let's show the ones that I like. So, got kind of them over here. So if you see me kind of doing this, then I'm pulling the decks to show them. So, number 10 is the Antique Anatomy Tarot deck. So the cards are like here. And this tarot deck I think is really, really pretty. And it does show you the different varieties of the, or not varieties, but like the reverse and the up meaning. So like this is one of the cards, for example. It's a very pretty deck. It's kind of got the dark academia and cottagecore together. So I think it's really, that's why this one's one of my favorites. It's fun to use too. I'm going to set them off to the side so I don't accidentally drop them. The next one is the Occult Tarot, which this one, if you can see here, focuses on infernals. And since I work with a couple of infernals, this deck is really good at describing where they rank and who they are and how to pronounce the names. It gives you a good basic in case you're like looking them up. But for example, like here's Beleth, and then for the Knight of Cups here. So that's kind of an example of one of the cards. This one I actually got pretty recently, within the last couple of months. So this one's been kind of fun to use. And so that one made my top 10. Then the next one is actually the first deck I ever got. My Herbal Healing deck. This one is an Oracle deck. So this one focuses on more overall meanings rather than like your tarot that's very specific. So for example, this is a cherry tree and it's focused on renewal. And then the book goes into the in-depth of like what the cherry tree is and then the oracle meaning behind it. So this one I like pulling out if I need some sort of healing. It's also a good one to just kind of pull out when I need after a while. My next one, so I kind of fell behind me, is the Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. This one is a very pretty oracle deck. Again, another oracle deck. So it's definitely more the overall meaning as well. So, let's see if I can grab one of the cards. There we go. So, this is an example. The child within, talking about innocence, tenderness, the inner mother. This type of, they do this and they give you kind of what the card meaning is. And then the book goes more in depth of what the meaning is too. It's a very pretty deck. I've liked using this. This is another one I've gotten recent. It's really nice to use. The next one is the Archetype deck. So this one I think is pretty nice when you're wanting to learn archetypes or just other things besides tarot and oracle. So like for example, this is with the card, the Siren, and it comes with a book that goes over the archetypes and what they mean or how they relate to whatever you're asking about or whoever you're asking about type thing. This one is actually the same author who's done this deck, has a tarot deck and an oracle deck. And I've used the oracle deck, which is called, I think it's called Wild Animal or Animal Spirit. It's got different animals and goes through like an oracle meaning of what those cards are. That one's a really nice deck. That's kind of a side note to the top 10, but I do recommend that one too. It's very nice. It has the same art style across the board. So I think it's a very, very pretty deck too. All right, up next. So we're now to the top 5. Is our Mushroom Spirit Oracle. Now this one, I do have an interest in the herbal, but also the mushroom style decks. And so this one's an oracle deck, and this one has different mushrooms in it. Now let me grab one of these cards so I can show it to you. So you have the king oyster mushroom for substance. What I like about this deck is it does show you the card, which I'm showing you this book because it's a little bit pretty interesting, because like this is the common puffball. Well, it talks to you about where they are found in when you're like out foraging, but it also tells you if they are inedible, edible, or poisonous. So it's kind of cool to see which ones are, you know, you shouldn't eat that one, or you know, you got the edible one here, and then gives you the oracle meaning of whatever the card is. This one's become one of my top favorites as well, just because it's given me time to, I can learn things and also have something that I really like. The next one, which I have the big version of it, is the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck. I like this because I am quite a fan of Nightmare Before Christmas. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies. It's also like my favorite Disney villain is Oogie Boogie, which you'll probably see like some plushies and stuff. One of my favorite villains. So this is a really cool deck to have, even though, you know, it's a tarot deck, so it's follows the same tarot deck style. But like here is the Eight of Presents. And so you've got this, and then this has its own style. Instead of the like cups, wands, pentacles, and swords, it does like presents, jars. It goes into its own the own definition of the minor arcana, but it still follows the same meaning of like what you would see as the cups and the pentacles, swords, and wands. So that's a pretty fun deck to use. My third deck is the Arcana of Astrology, which is an oracle deck. This is cool to learn if you're trying to learn astrology things. This goes from planets to zodiacs to the houses to side planets like Juno or Lilith. So then you have each card is something different. So like here's a Scorpio. Let me see if I can grab like a, here's Hagia, and then you've got like the second house. Does stuff like that, and it goes over, like it does have an oracle meaning for the deck, what it would be in a reading. But like for the different houses, it tells you what it means from the astrology perspective. And it actually gives you kind of a lesson in the astrology while you're doing the cards. It's also a really pretty deck, again. And it's nice to learn about these things when, if you don't have any knowledge, it's a good like basic level for it. The next, now we're down to the top two. And these have been my kind of all-time favorite. So the number 2 spot is the Universal Folk Oracle. This one is, of course, like it says, it's an oracle deck and has, again, its own story behind it, but it's a very unique art style. And then it's like, okay, you have solitude and the meanings with it, with the oracle. And for me, it's this type of art style is very cottagecore, and it matches kind of what I'm like into. It's a very pretty art style, and I like that the book is pretty small, pretty handheld, and it's able to look at some of these decks and read them, and then kind of talks about peace and growth is the main focus of this one, which is nice when, you know, if you're in the mindset for growth or mentality. That's a really nice deck. And my number 1 deck is the Mystical Medley Tarot deck. I like this one because it's got the old cartoon vibes that I like, and it's been a nice tarot deck to use. This one's probably like, I always keep this one with me. It's always a good go-to for me, but it's a very pretty, like, follows that old cartoon style. Like, here is the Ace of Pentacles. It's got a very cartoony style. It gives you a book for you to learn the meanings behind it. And it has a couple of extra cards, so I think it's like a happy squirrel, sad squirrel. Those are added into it. But it has the major arcana too, like the Wheel of Fortune. So it's a very nice deck for me to use. It's been one of my favorites. It's a good go-to. And it reads like what a tarot deck would read. So that is my top 10 favorite decks. And feel free to leave a comment down below what type of decks you like. If you prefer tarot, if you prefer oracle, if you have a favorite deck, you know, drop a comment. But that's the end of this video. Feel free to like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye.